Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Open Mic. I'm Mike Mooney, the marketing chair for the NSA Carolinas chapter, and this series is dedicated to bringing you the chapter news and voices that are going to help you build your business. And I've got to tell you, I am thrilled to have Charles C. Weathers with us today because he has an event coming up on March 13th at 9 a.m. that is titled The Business of Doing Business. Simple as that. Now, Charles is a nationally recognized consultant and speaker, and we're also very honored to have him as an NSA Carolinas board member. So, Charles, I tell you, man, I want to jump into this because you're the whole topic here in the business of doing business and helping speakers improve their financial position is so vital as we're in Q1 coming through a year of COVID, right? Where speakers, our worlds have been turned upside down. But man, we have got to just focus in on the basics, right? Of what we can do and then how do we scale our business. So I'm thrilled to have you, man. And just can you tell us a little bit about what the attendees are going to experience and what you're going to bring, man? You got a lot to bring to us.
Absolutely. Mike, first of all, thanks for hosting me today. And it's a pleasure to serve on the board with you and our other colleagues and to be a part of this phenomenal organization. NSA Carolinas always are doing great things for the membership and the community at large. So I'm just honored to be a part of this whole entity. I got to tell you, the business of doing business, man, it excites me. And I just say that with all the passion that I have. It is exciting to have this conversation. I'm going to tell you why.
Tell
Mike, you've had these phone calls. You probably said this. Hey, can I pick your brains? Or
me.
hey, can we go to coffee and have some lunch and talk about this? Or how did you get paid to speak? Do people actually pay you to do this right here? Let me get this straight. This is your job. So I,
Yes,
18
yes.
years plus of doing this, Mike, right? I get those phone calls and I can't have that much coffee, lunch, or brain picking. I just can't have
Well, you're in
so
good shape, man. So clearly you figured out how to balance all that.
trying to do something, right? So I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about the business of doing business, and let's create a platform and a space to answer all those questions that we get from people to help them figure out what it means for them. And it's so important to your point earlier because here's what I found, Mike. As speakers, we are passionate about a topic, a subject, an issue, or concern, and we just want to talk, and we just like to talk. But at some point, you got to say, am I getting paid to do this? Uh,
Yeah.
at some point, there's somebody either at home or at the office saying, "Did you get the check?" All right,
Right?
Mike, I got to tell you, when I first started, my business partner would say, "I know you like to talk, but can you make sure they pay you?"
Never heard that before, right? From a business partner or a spouse or partner, right? Never,
Right,
never.
right, right. And so here's an example. Be careful of this.
Yeah.
I love this so much, I do it for free. I
Oof.
get the sentiment behind that,
Yeah.
but that can plant a seed in our head where we take advantage of ourselves. So the business of doing business allows us to recognize the head and the heart can coexist. You can have the passion for the work and still have the competency to run the business, and the two together make a beautiful pair.
Man, that's so true. I love what you just mentioned there, Charles, because there's power in not only our mindset, but the words that we use, right?
Mhm.
And how that sits with us, and more importantly, then how do we see ourselves in a professional role? That look, if we're delivering value and impact, if we're truly delivering the systems or services or messages that are going to help a business organization or an
Mhm.
association,
Right.
there should be something that's exchanged in this and that value. And you're right, it's more than lunch, coffee, or hey, thanks for the help.
That's exactly right. I learned a long time ago, and again, I know we are very particular about, I'm not talking specific financial figures here, but I will share this
Sure.
with you. We bring value. That's my word. We bring value, Mike. There's the
Yeah.
value add here. I've told
Yeah.
people for years, you don't pay for my time. My time, there's not a dollar figure that could pay for my time. It's the value that I bring.
Yeah.
And those of us that do this and do this well, there are many of us out there in 15 minutes, in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes, in an hour, we can bring so much value that people then can hold on to and use for years to come. And we understand that value add. Here's an example. I ask all speakers, what's your value proposition?
Hmm.
Now we think about companies like a Google or Facebook or BASF, they have a value proposition. Okay, speakers, what's your value proposition? And
Right.
we'll talk about that on the 13th because your value proposition is not just for the people you're speaking to, it's to remind you yourself as well.
Yeah, no, and it's so needed right now, especially coming out of 2020, where honestly it was a for many, and I'll tell you for myself, it was in many cases a mental and an emotional beatdown,
Yeah.
and where do we typically, devalue our work the most?
Hmm.
It's between these ears.
That's
So,
right.
if I'm hearing you correctly, then Charles, this session on the 13th, which by the way is free for NSA Carolinas members, $50 if you're a non-member. Okay, so really no reason why you can't show up to grow and learn and get your business ready for the next level. But
That's right.
Charles, tell us. You mentioned a couple of points that you were going to be going through. Are there any
Yeah.
other key points that you'd want to, tease us a little bit on that we should be thinking of?
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about a couple things. One thing that we're going to learn the value of saying, I don't know. Those
Wow.
three words, I don't know. I
But
want you to learn part of your business. You don't have to know everything. As a matter of fact, if you try to know everything, your business will flutter and fail. And so we're going to talk about the value of saying, I don't know, when to say it, and then what to say after you say that. Very important. That's one
wow,
of the
that feels so counterintuitive, right? When we're supposed to be thought leaders
yes.
and be experts in an area to be able to say I don't know. So that's going to be great because I think that's going to be liberating and
Mhm.
empowering too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely,
That's
and
great.
part of that as well. And then here's another flip on this, right? Or another thing to consider. We're going to talk about some principles related to your financial positioning. I'm going to
Oh,
talk about, as a business, as a speaker, what are your KPIs? What are your key performance indicators? What is your speaker's dashboard? I mean,
mm,
like the dashboard in your car. You get up in the morning and you look at it, and you can see what's working, what's not working.
yeah.
And by the way, I've learned in my car, those lights are not recommendations; they're kind of mandates, right? If that
Yes.
oil light starts flashing, you better pay attention to it. But I
Yes.
found when I talk to speakers, I'm like, what's your dashboard? What are your KPIs? You're like, huh? What? There are certain things that are flashing right now, and you're not paying attention to them. Lesson learned. Watch this. When we say something just happened, seldom does it just happen, Mike. It happened 2 or 3 or 5, 6 months ago. You just noticed.
Yeah, man. That is reminds me of there's a phrase that I use in some of my talks around crisis and reputation. And in one
Uh-huh.
of Hemingway's books, there it's called The Sun Also Rises. And there were two main characters, and one of them is going bankrupt. And his friend asks him, "Man, how did you go bankrupt?" And the friend goes, "Well, easy, gradually, then suddenly." Right? Gradually, then suddenly. So rarely is it ever this lightning in a bottle moment where
Right.
something happens. It is. You're right. It's the culmination of things that have happened over previous months that maybe we just missed. Maybe we chose to look away from. Let's be honest. There are areas in this business that you know we just don't want to get our hands into, but it's important, right?
And the thing about it is that, and watch this, Mike, I'm a firm believer. There are some things in my business I don't touch. There's some things my team won't let me touch, like Charles
Yeah.
way. and,
That's smart. That's
and
smart.
I'm fortunate to be at a space where I have people around me, watch this, who protect me from me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, folks need to get that right there, because part of that business is recognizing the things I'm good at, I'm good at, but the things I'm not, find somebody who is.
Wow, that's great. So you're going to touch on that a little bit as
Yes,
well?
I am. We're going to talk
Okay,
about yes.
perfect, man. So listen, as people are getting ready for the 13th, March 13th, coming up 9 a.m.,
Yep.
you can go ahead and you can register at nsacarolinas.org. You can
Yep.
click a link from our Facebook page as well, where this is posted. The event's been created.
Yep.
Um, I'm a big believer, Charles, in that we get out of an experience what we put in. It's not only what we put in while we're there and present in the moment, but it's
Mhm.
also how do we prepare for it. So
Yes.
if there are a couple of like words of wisdom or nuggets that you think would be good for people to prepare, our
Mhm.
members or attendees to prepare
Right.
as they get ready, what would you suggest they do?
Couple things. I'm going to give them some pre-homework. Number one, write down 3 to 5 things that you have done in the last 6 months to work on your business.
Hmm.
Not work in your business. That's different.
Yeah.
Working on your business. So, what are 3 to 5 things that you can tangibly say, I've done this in the last 6 months to work on my business? Create that list. We'll have a little exercise that we'll do during our time together to talk about that.
Awesome.
Also in advance of that, I want people to just spend some time and asking themselves this question: what's next for my business? What's
Hmm.
next? Do
Yeah.
those two things in preparation, and then we'll finish that when we get together on the 13th.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, folks, you've heard it from Charles C. Weathers right here. He's going to be the man taking us through this plan of getting you to a better financial position for your business and your practice, getting ready to really take advantage of what 2021 has to offer for all of us. People are thirsty, hungry, and need the messages that you have. So let's get your business whipped into shape that's going to be able to help take you, your practice, your message to that next level. So Charles, thank you so much, man. We are just so looking forward to the 13th. And everyone, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Open Mic. And until we talk again, stay well and keep digging, friends. Take care.